Okay, here today I have some special ladies for my Mother's Day podcast episode. And what better than a group of maternity nurses who are also mothers? So I have Brianna, Marcia, and Erin. Thanks for spending some of your day talking to me.
Thanks for having
Yes,
us.
thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
Yes, I know Marcia's been on several of my episodes, so if you're listening to her, you can finally see her. And Erin's voice has been heard on one episode. And then Brianna, welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
agreeing to do this. So I figured since it's Mother's Day, we are very grateful and we celebrate and we're happy, but how difficult it is to be a mother. And it seems like it keeps getting more difficult because we used to say it takes a village to raise a child, and although it does take a village, but that village is getting more isolating and it's changing rapidly. It's much more isolating to be a mother. Seems like a lot of the responsibility is on the parents rather than like an extended family, friends, neighbors. So we're living in a scarier society, more isolating society. And then we have this new friend of social media and AI and all of these things. So just some thoughts. I mean, Erin's got little ones, Marcia's got adult children now, and Brianna has a variety of ages, right? So whoever wants to start telling me some of your thoughts.
They're all looking at me.
Yeah,
You're the most experienced mother.
Well, I think that motherhood overall is isolating, and that mothers take a unique responsibility upon themselves um, in our own right. Um, Moms tend to just overwhelmingly feel the most responsibility for your children's care, their happiness, their well-being, keeping track of their schedules, making sure, moms are the people who carry that entire mental load of, are my kids eating well? Are they getting outside enough? Are they, am I reading them enough books? Are we, all of these things? And the things that you're concerned about change as they age, but you still carry that amount of responsibility. I mean, my son just graduated with his master's degree, and I was messaging him about his resume. And I think you need to do this. I think you need to do that. My daughter is 25 and a professional and works for a pharmaceutical company. And I still try to, help her with how to manage work issues and what's for dinner and how you can make this and run these errands. Mothers just bear the greatest responsibility of their children's happiness and well-being. And it's a universal problem. It's an age-old problem. And yes, moms, the thing is, we have helpers. Moms are the people,
right.
and others help. Dads help, friends help, step parents help, but mom is the number one.
Yeah, it's probably a different feeling when you had those feelings of you had to care for your body in the first place to make sure this person came in healthy. So, and that's why like I have episodes like this because parents and mothers, like in particular, who we're talking about, especially with Mother's Day, is that fear of failure, fear of isolation, and I'm trying to with women like you who can kind of shed some light on helping the other mothers and things you can say to them to maybe it's the train across the street um to so that you know that you're not alone. I mean, there's two other ladies too who are in different stages of this too.
Well, I think the difference is too, there is nothing that, and this is large majority generalization, there is not really much that a mother is not going to do to make her child happy and well. Like, your best mood is dependent on, your least happy child.
Right. You're only as happy as your least favorite, as your least happy
Your
child.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
the saying. Yeah.
That's entirely true. Because if one of your children is unhappy with whatever's happening, you're focused on trying to help them with that and make that better and help them figure it out. And so you're never really at rest and you don't think twice about that. And that's kind of the exhausting part because no one's happy at the same time.
No.
Yeah, and that's tough. So like Aaron said, you're only as happy as your least happy child. I mean, that's pretty draining because they're their own little people, and you're a person. So then, how do you ever stay happy? I mean, because there's always something going on with some child, like Marcia said. I mean, her children are adults, and so how do you kind of deal with that? I can give you
I don't know. I think I'm learning to deal with it. I don't know if I've mastered it. I certainly haven't mastered it. I don't, becoming a mother is like such a loss of identity. It's an adoption of a new identity. So your whole identity becomes, wrapped up in these other little people who are separate from you, but they sometimes do feel like an extension of you. And so it's just learning to, be okay, support them through difficult times without completely succumbing to it or taking ownership of it, because ultimately they are their own selves. Even though they come from you, they feel like they are an extension of you.
That's interesting that you use the word identity because you said, I'm sorry, I only have two. um, you said you're losing one identity and gaining another identity, like lifelong. Then, like you then go back to being an independent woman, right? Because what happens then? And these are things to think about when your children are school age and small and dependent on you. One day that identity, is that always going to be your identity? Because those people are then going to be like people doing their own thing and not necessarily,
As like
involving you.
yeah, I think it changes, right? I mean, I don't think, Marcia, your kids are almost out of the house and grown and very like into their own selves and their own lives, but you still strongly identify as a mother. That's such a huge part of your identity still. I
Oh,
think it
yeah.
always will be. Even your
Yeah.
own mother, my own mother, who's a grandma now. I mean, her her identity has shifted. Obviously, we haven't become so physically dependent on her, but we still are very much a part of her life. She still very much identifies as being the matriarch, I think.
Well, I mean, I think the time spurts shift a little bit. Like I'm getting to do things now more that are like being an adult woman.
Yeah.
But the minute my kids need something or call or you are mom. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm mom.
Yeah.
It's I don't think that ever goes away.
Right.
That never goes away. I call my mom every day.
Yeah.
Like everyone just needs their mom. Nobody in the entire world loves you the way your mother loves you and will show up for you. And I actually enjoy being that person for my kids. Like I love being that person for my kids.
Brianna, you have the most kids in the room.
You do.
Yes. Does that matter in terms of then? Obviously, you're a mom all the time, and like for more people, but then that balance of so many kids. I mean, not to say so many. Four is many people have four kids, but is that responsibility. How does that impact you?
So I
Thank
feel
you.
like I hate saying it's a unique situation because it shouldn't be, and it's probably not, but my husband is a saint. He is
Oh,
helpful. He probably does more than I do most of the time, if I'm being honest. And it's because primarily I do work evenings and nights.
yeah.
He works days, so we kind of have to stagger our schedules. But he's the one doing bath time, dinner, bedtime,
Yeah.
reading the books. I'm the one who comes from working, and then I'm up with them all day, so I'm doing like the outside stuff, the playtime. I think it would be a lot harder to balance it all if I didn't have a husband that was so willing to help. I don't like that
You're,
word,
you're
but
so right though, and it's sadly it is a unique situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I guess that makes the difference. But then you're like the parent identity rather than like your
You have a partner.
individuality.
You
Yeah.
have like a
Yeah,
legitimate
yeah,
partner.
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And what about these news challenges? I've been reading so many of these articles they're talking about development being impaired with like children who are already speech delayed who are staring at like screens a lot actually impacts them long term. And I would imagine that would impact too children who aren't speech delayed. There would be some kind of speech social delay. So it's difficult because the majority of children are using tablets, iPads, what have you, social media stuff. Like, what? How do you guys feel about that? First of all, and then what? How do you do to manage those things?
So I kind of can see both sides of it because our youngest, they are 2 and 4. The 4-year-old is pretty adept at using an iPad. Like she knows how to navigate it, she knows how to play games. So on one hand, the educational games, I have seen the benefits of
Yeah,
it as far
for
as like
sure.
her colors and her shapes and her words. But then like she does find her way onto YouTube, and I've got to be like,
Yeah.
because she would stay on it and she would just stare at it
Mm-hmm.
all day long and do nothing else if
Yeah.
we gave her the opportunity to do that. So, you know, she does occasionally watch it. I won't lie, she
Yeah.
does. But
Yeah.
like you mentioned AI, she
Yeah.
sees these videos on there and she's like, what is it? It's called a meow, I think it is. It's
Mhm.
like a cat with an
Yeah,
owl
yeah,
head, and she's
yeah.
like, "Mom, I want one."
Right.
And I'm like, "Lauren, it's not real."
It's not
Like,
a real
and
thing.
she's like, "No,
Right.
it is. Look at it.
Yeah.
There's this video." And I'm like, "No, she's 4, so she doesn't understand." I'm
Right.
like, "It's not real." So
That's
how
yeah.
are they gonna grow up to differ between reality and
Mhm.
AI?
I mean,
don't
let's
know.
be honest. We've all seen AI
I-
videos and
Yeah.
been
We've
fooled.
all been
I
fooled,
know.
yeah.
Right. But we have the cognitive development to then understand. Like,
Yeah.
if you tell me that wasn't real, I'll believe you. But if we're teenagers sitting here,
Mhm.
like that comprehension is not there. And if you're little, like 4 years old, that's definitely not something they can even because they're all about imagination.
Yeah.
So something being real and not real is not even a part of their lives yet. So it's like what do we do? I mean, we can talk about putting controls on it, but the reason she was staring is because we all stare. It's addictive.
Right. My
Yeah.
oldest is 8, and we talk about it all the time because I do feel like I'm maybe stricter about screen time. Like we watched TV shows and movies and stuff, but I have been really resistant to giving them iPads and handheld devices because, especially my oldest, he would stay on it all day if he could. And he's at the age now where he's going to school and his friends have phones and he's coming home and it's a weekly conversation, if not daily. Well, when can I get a phone? Why can't I have a phone? So and so has a phone. So and so is allowed to watch YouTube. Yada yada yada. And I'm constantly telling him part of me as a mom is like, I don't want him to miss out. I
Right.
don't want socially him to feel like behind. But I also am like, buddy, this is not good for your brain. If you can come to me with proof that it's okay for your brain or good for your brain, I'm happy to like reevaluate the conversation.
That's a good
But
one.
I know it's not, and we know it's not, and it's my job as your mom to protect you from certain things. And it's hard enough for me as a grown up with a fully developed, frontal lobe to stay
Yeah,
off my phone.
right.
So I know for you as an 8-year-old little boy, it's going to be that much harder. And it's a hard conversation, and
Yeah.
it can get heated, and he can be very disappointed. But I feel it's just something and it's only going to get harder as he gets older. So I
Yeah.
don't know. But
And that's the challenge. It's like this devout conversation because it's so addictive and everyone's doing it.
Mhm.
So with you, Marcia, like your kids were in like the computer generation and
Yeah.
some of the tablet stuff, but like
Yeah, I was lucky. I missed out on a lot of this. Like my
Yeah.
kids were I want to say my daughter was probably in middle school before like cell phones were readily available to kids. My kids did not have iPads when they were little. We didn't deal with any of that. Uh, but by the time they were my youngest was in middle school and high school, it was, prior to them saying, oh, no, 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 they're going to be locked up at school. it was almost impossible to go to school without it, because it then became a tool that teachers were using, like, look this up, go on your iPad, go on your phone. And if they didn't have one, it wasn't just like a, a social construct that they were left behind. They were left behind.
Yeah.
They needed that, to be able to do what they needed to do at school, and that was kind of tough. But I feel like in their particular situation, they had they were old enough by
Old
that
enough,
point that they had, developed, the
Right.
ability to have conversation. And
Exactly.
I think now kids, if you look at a 16-year-old, even 18-year-old and under, they're really struggling with how to communicate and behave. And it's this instant gratification, and they're impatient, and it's impulsive. So I think I escaped that, fortunately.
And some of it too, like Brianna, you're a good like partner or teamwork through this. Some of it too is kind of like everyone being on the same page, right? Because I have a lot of parents who come into the office and they say, one parent says they do it a certain way, and the other parent may not be on board, or like a step parent, or whoever's watching the kids during the day, like grandparents, may give in to whether it's screen time or treats or whatever the case is. So, with the partnership, does that help, or is that kind of more challenging sometimes?
So my two oldest are 9 and 12, and they actually have a different dad than my two youngest. So I did the whole, got my 9 and 12-year-old cell phones.
Yeah.
I'm not with them all the time.
Yeah.
I like to have a way to access them without having to call their dad, because I don't, sometimes he's at work or he's out with his friends, and I just like to be able to have a way to contact them. And so, we have the disagreements of he didn't want them to have phones. And I was like, I don't really either, but I need a way to contact them.
Yeah.
Like, that's a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah.
So, when they're with me, I kind of set the rules for the phone use.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tell the kids, when you're with your dad, like, if he says no phones after this time or no phones at the dinner table, like, sure, I pay for it, but you need to listen
Right.
to him regarding the phone rules. So I think I think it can get tricky when the kids don't have stability.
Mm-hmm. Duty calls. Thank you, Erin.
Yeah.
You're welcome back if duty finishes.
It's like when one parent says one thing and one says the other, and the kids are like, well, I can kind of use this to my advantage. But I think being on the same page is important, and when it's not, it can get difficult.
Yeah, and I think I'll come closer to you for the time being. I think that's one of the things I'm seeing too, like in the office world, seeing the egos, and and it's tough then on the kids because the parenting kind of takes a little bit of the back seat if if there can be a respect and a regard for people as a parent. But then how do you, it's hard to say that as a pediatrician, right? It's hard to sit down and like school parents or parents, as people are going to act how they're going to act. What about you, Marcia?
I mean, I think, again, I didn't really have to deal with that, thankfully.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and my kids are adults now. My daughter has a job. She can't be on her phone. So this wasn't really a huge parenting problem for me, which I am super grateful for. I think we more had to deal with stuff like middle school and high school, what's appropriate to be on your phone, more about, the conversation, what you send out into the universe is there forever and ever. If you send it and one person sees it, that can be out there, you know. As they've gotten older, that conversation was more about, what you put out there that can affect your ability to get a job. that can affect different things. Once it's there and people see it, that's a representation of yourself, and you have to remember that.
That was like the Facebook time and the videos that were
Mhm.
going on there. 'Cause
Yeah.
I remember we started taking videos and putting them on Facebook, but
Mhm.
when I was in medical school, so that was when your kids were a little younger. But that brings up like the point. There's another thing that I wanted to talk about today was this kind of co-parenting, because like I said, the village is not the same as it used to be. There's a lot of moving parts now, and having like multiple people raising the kids in different homes. So it's not like neighbors and friends, but it's also like exes, new parents, step parents, bonus moms,
Mhm.
things like that. And so how does that come into the mix? Like any experiences with that you guys want to share? Because we've got a lot of parents out there dealing with that. So I think hearing from you
Mhm.
some input, like I said, to not feel alone or maybe get some advice.
Yeah, so for my two who are not in school yet, we have a primary babysitter. We have a backup babysitter for when our primary babysitter can't make it. And then my 4-year-old also goes to pre-K Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 12. So it's a lot of moving parts and pieces and figuring out who's gonna bring Lauren to school, who's gonna pick her up, am I gonna be sleeping, do we need to have one of the babysitters pick her up. It can be a lot, it can be overwhelming trying to figure it all out, and then also the affordability of it all, right? Because now we need to pay all these people to help us with our children, which is fine, but it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to figure out because babysitters and daycare is really expensive. And
Very expensive.
what about the dynamic then with, you said like your dad of your husband with the two little ones, and does he help with the big ones too then, or?
We share, so they'll come back and forth between the
Okay.
houses. Primarily, the two older ones are with their dad. They're about an hour from me, so
Okay.
I usually see them most of the weekends, and it's easier to balance things on the weekends than it is during the weekdays. But my parents help a lot too
Yeah.
on the weekends. My brothers,
Oh, that's
yeah.
nice.
So
Yeah. So you have a little bit of a village there.
yeah, I had to move back for it because I was in Mississippi, so I had to move back to New York to build my village.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Is this where you grew up?
yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. What about you with like now your children are adults and you're gone back to more like martial life
Mhm.
and relationship and all that. So how do you balance like the togetherness with your kids and being like your own person, your own
I think that, my kids always come first. They
woman?
do. And that's not necessarily true for everybody, and that's okay. I love being a mom, and I have always my kids and I have always been so 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 close, and that dynamic has never changed. My daughter is now 25 and unquestionably my best friend on the planet. We choose to spend our time together. We love it. We really do. We vacation alone together. We love it more than
Hey,
anything,
that's
actually. You know,
I took my mom. I made sure that she was my vacation buddy my last few years of vacations.
yeah.
So yeah.
I think that, your relationship just it changes. The dynamic changes. They are grown up. They are adult. They don't need me to tell them what to do anymore. They look to me for advice. They ask my opinion, but we're two grown-ups. I enjoy adult things with my children. I go golfing with my son. My daughter and I go, have cocktails and charcuterie at Shaker and Vine. We get I get to share my life with them. I get to share, they get to see me as a grown up woman instead of just a mommy. And I love that.
Do you think part of that is because you continue to be your own person? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some of it is some moms, and I'm not saying one way or the other is wrong, but some moms, like, are so in the mom mode that their identity is, I'm your mom, versus, like, I'm a mom who's also a woman and watch me live my life while I help you live yours, and then we can have this relationship like you have.
I don't know. I think I was pretty engrossed in just I'm your mom. You
Yeah.
know, it was that way for a really, really, really long time. And I'm okay with that. I think I'm really fortunate that the three of us are very close and it is very unique.
Mhm.
But I think that gave them a little bit extra security. And so now we just don't worry about it. They just know they have me, and when they need me to be mom, I can be mom. I mean, you know, we don't. It's just so different when they're grown. It's so different when
Yeah.
they're grown.
Yeah, it's kind of like that mode kind of happened, and now
I'm
you're on the
not
other side of
disciplined.
that.
I don't
Yeah.
have to discipline them. You know, they pay their own bills. They face the consequences of their own actions. I don't have to
Mhm.
discipline or punish or take something away, or you know, if they screw up, they know it and it hurts their bank account, or you know, it's their problem and I can help them navigate it or support them, but it's not for me to handle anymore. They handle it. So it
Yeah.
just brings about a whole different dynamic.
Well, Brianna, you're like in full working mom mode
Mm.
now, so it's
Mhm.
like hearing Marcia say some of these things, like having done kind of the raising, like how does it feel? Do you feel like that's a
We've
yeah.
had conversations about this
Yeah.
Yeah.
before, and she's like, you might feel like you're in the trenches now, but
Yeah,
look at
the
all that you
trenches.
have to look forward
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about it frequently,
A lot.
actually.
Yeah.
And I think that I am the type of mom who needs to also have my alone time
Mhm.
and my time away from my kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, of course, I love them beyond comprehension, right?
Yeah.
Would do anything for them at any time, but I need to have like a night away with my friends. I need to sit in my room for a few hours with my book in the silence. Like, I feel like a little time away from them sometimes makes me a better parent. And that may not hold true for everybody,
Yeah.
but I feel like we shouldn't be feeling bad
Mhm.
if that's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I love hearing you say that, and I'm glad you said that on here for people to hear, because although it may not hold true for everybody, but I think that a lot of moms feel so guilty.
Mhm.
But it's important because, like, just like you said, you do need those breaks. Like, we all need breaks from each other, just as people. And in the same regard, you need a break to have your alone time. You have a very stimulating job, and then you're caring for these little individuals. You do need to have your time. We need to decompress, we need to relax, we need to remember the parts of us that are us.
Mhm.
Like you're Brianna, you're a person.
Mhm.
So you wanting to read a book, like you can't not read a book for like the next 20 something years while your kids are getting raised, you
Right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think
yeah, and
motherhood has actually even become more demanding.
yes.
You know, I
Right.
mean, when my kids were little, things were a lot simpler,
Mhm.
or at least it felt more simple. And I think mothering now is so demanding, and you're trying to do so much and you're working so much, and you are also spreading your time between more children, which is very overwhelming. It's just when one goes to school, you still have others at home.
Yeah.
You know, I sent one to school and had one at home. It's a very different, it's a very different kind of time. 25 years is a big difference.
A lot changes in just
Mhm.
a few years, and you do, I think we all do a better job at whatever we're doing if we take a break and then are able to decompress a little and then go back to it. And it's the same for parenting. It's not that you're not a mother at that moment, you are, but they can be doing something else while you're doing what you're doing. And a lot does change, like Marcia said, because now all of these battles of things just being more stimulating, it makes it very hard to be a person. And I think we're given too much information, the information overload. Like when wars have been going on, for example, and disease has been going on since the beginning of time. And the amount of it being in your face, and we should be aware of these things as human beings. We have to have humanity within us. But all of the exposure that people are receiving and talking about, and the children are hearing it, these are things that you have to then combat how they're handling that and what they're thinking about that.
I think my biggest gripe from little kids to big kids about social media, and your children have a wonderful life, you give them a wonderful life, as do mine, and yet somehow on social media, they always feel like they're failing. They always feel like they're falling short. They never feel like they have enough. They're never on the best vacation. They don't have the nicest car or the nicest toy. They're not on the best sports team. They're not, whatever it is. Kids now, the amount of anxiety, depression, you know, it's, you can't compare to what you see online.
I even feel like that sometimes as an adult when I get online and see that stuff.
Yeah. Yep,
Exactly.
absolutely. Because, you know, none of us post our worst moments
Right,
online.
right.
It is our best moments, the most fun times, the most delicious food, the best vacation. You take a picture 6 times to make sure it's the best version of you. And so it's not, none of it is actually real life. It's altered life.
And these are the things that we're having to counsel on to like ourselves and then to children like that are having anxiety. Oh my God, I have mental health visits in the office every single day. And there's so many children that are little kids too. People are anxious. This is too much information, so, and it's not accurate information, like you said, because even in that awesome vacation, you weren't enjoying it every single moment, but you're putting that, you know, and so that comparison, it's human nature, and we're just not, we just have to remind people about that, and we have to remind children. And so, do you have any like I mean, your kids are in like these very delicate ages about this, you know?
Yeah. Adriana is very hard on herself sometimes just because she's always comparing, and it's so hard not to when it's thrown in front of your face. Like, how do you not compare? So I think it's, you know, I've done a lot of reassuring her, a lot of like, you're perfect the way you are, don't compare yourself to others. And sure, we could sit here and preach it all day, right? But
there's also no break from it. When we were kids, you know, if you felt that way at school, or somebody had something new or great or awesome and you didn't have it and you felt bad about it for a little bit, you would go home and you're kind of back to reality. Like, life really isn't that bad. It's fine. I have the things I have. There is no break from it, because you are on, it is in their face, a constant reminder of something that's making them feel bad or less. And that is hard to constantly reassure and have that conversation, because they just feel bad and they keep feeling bad.
Yeah, I mean, she's really great at being like turning it around and being like, no, it's okay, it doesn't bother me, it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
But then as a parent, deep down, you're like, is it really? Is she just telling me that? Like,
Are you thinking about it and thinking about your kids when you're at work?
yeah, all the time. All the time.
Yeah. That's where, I guess that's why you guys have the conversations with each other too.
There's no better support for mothers than other mothers.
Yeah.
No matter what stage your kids are at, you like get advice from each other. You talk about, I mean, I say to her all the time, hang on, you're going to Punta Cana in a few more years. You do. And like as a mom with older kids, I I can completely relate to everything that they're going through. I lived it. I was in it. And it's the amount of mom guilt you put upon yourself, and you feel like you're doing everything wrong. And I also try to say, look, they're going to be great. They're going to be great. When you feel like you're doing everything wrong, you're not. You're doing
Yeah.
everything right, and you love them, and they're going to be great.
Who is the person who should tell you that makes you feel the best, like it's real, like it's true, that you're doing a great job as a mom?
At this point in my life, God bless my children, they both tell me I'm doing a great job. My daughter each day
Yeah.
will send me like the little memes, or she'll get up in the morning and I did this for you, mom. I did this for you. Thank you so much. We have like a little system. I hate to grocery shop. She loves it. She hates to cook. I do it. So we divide and conquer, and I'll say, laundry's in the basket, and she'll say, thanks, mom, I emptied the dishwasher. It just, at this point in life, my kids tell me I'm a great mom,
So it's
and I love that. I'm
it's
lucky.
that feedback from your children that's
Yeah.
the most. So
Yeah.
what about like at your stage?
Mhm.
Because is it also your children, or is it some other adult? Is it the pediatrician?
It's
Can I be
usually
helpful?
it's usually my husband.
Okay.
Every day I get a "We love you so much. We miss you. You're doing great. The girls love you." Like, he's always telling me that. And then it's always nice to hear it from my mom.
Okay. So your mother
know,
telling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Coworkers.
That helps.
Because I feel like we're a little closer than coworkers. I feel like we have a close relationship.
Yeah.
And it's meaningful.
Yeah.
It's meaningful. When I look at you and say, you're doing a great job, I know the guilt you feel at being here, when you would way rather be home giving your kids a bath and putting them to bed.
Yeah.
But what your kids get to see is this mom who is this Wonder Woman, who is working hard and going to work and delivering babies and taking care of mommies. And they see that and they feel that, and they're going to grow up. And that's like going to be one of the biggest things that they know about their mom. And that's going to want to make them be really good people and work hard. Look what my mom,
Do you see? This is why she has this cup right here.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's so
World's
so true
bestest
though.
work mom, but
That's what you're
exactly.
teaching your young children is not something you can tell them. It is something that they see in you every day. You come home at 3 a.m, exhausted, and still wake up for them. It is what they see in you when they know you would rather be there with them, and you walk out the door to take care of somebody else. That you're showing them, and they are watching their mom be this amazing person, and they're going to remember that. Like, that is going to be so motivating to them when they have to do something hard, but they watch their mom do hard things.
There's something to be said about that for sure, because I think being a stay-at-home mom is wonderful and it's a whole job of its own. But the working mom who sacrifices for the good of humanity, for example, maternity nurses. I mean, what more of like a power woman job is that? You're taking care of someone else at their time of becoming a mother. I think our children are watching. They're watching you do this, and they're being motivated and inspired to do good for the world. Because it's great to like you're being a mom, and you're leaving that legacy, but the legacy of your career too is something that shows, and you're teaching your children, like Marcia said, these values of how to be a working member of society who's giving back so much. So,
and we're living in a world that more and more and more, it's becoming like, what's easy, what can just be given to me, what's owed to me, what's this. And they're watching you work for every single thing. That's irreplaceable.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, even, and I will say too, like, I think that one of the best things about my kids being older, especially my daughter now having a full-time job, that Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, the understanding in her of why mom was tired sometimes, why mom comes home and is really quiet or is really grumpy, or why something didn't get done. It is the biggest light bulb. And even my son now too will be like, no, no, mom, don't do that. It's okay. I got it. I'll do it. Well, you know.
I think a lot of it is you're doing the mom stuff now for the future, like Marcia said, of how they're going to be impacted now and realize it in the future.
Like, you know, me and my mom now I'm like, I totally understand why you used to lose your mind when I wouldn't like turn my clothes inside out before I threw them in the washing machine. Like, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. My mom too, actually, growing up, she was a nurse. She worked nights, so
Yeah.
kind of like
Full circle.
continuing on this cycle here. But I can see now. Sure, she may not have been at as many school events. You know, working nights. She had to miss some concerts, some sports games. But I get it, and I'm sure in the moment she felt very guilty about it, like I do now. But I'm hoping that when my kids get older, they'll be able to see, like I see.
Yeah, and they will.
They will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will, and they'll appreciate it. You
Yeah,
know.
so much to look forward to for all the moms who are wondering, and just, and for other people listening, like, just to remember to give feedback to moms, like, let them, any parent, but today's for mothers, to let them know that you're doing a good job. You have, to get that feedback.
It's never going to hurt a mom's feelings to tell her what a good job she's doing.
Yeah.
Because no mom ever thinks the job she's doing is good enough. Ever. You always, when you go to bed at night and you close your eyes, you don't think about the 854 things you did right for your children that day. You think about the 2 things that you don't think were good enough. The dinner that you feel like maybe wasn't enough vegetables. Did you give them enough attention? Did you do this? You always think of what you might have done wrong, or what might have disappointed them or made them sad, or even at grown children's ages. You just always worry the most about what you didn't do well enough. So always tell a mom what a great job she's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it always helps. And so Mother's Day should be the whole month.
It should be Mother's Month.
I agree.
Do you guys have anything else that you want to kind of impart or discuss or talk about?
No, I think just, you know, every mother's experience is unique, but it's also so similar.
Yeah.
And so, again, you can't compare yourself to other moms because we're all in different stages of our life. But at the same time, I think we can all understand where each other's coming from.
And every child is different.
Yes.
The way that you parent, the way that you have to even mother one of your children, maybe entirely, your kids' needs are different.
Yeah.
What they need from you, what they require of you, what you have to do for them may be so different. You're still doing it right.
Children are impacted by things in different ways. We all come with a personality and an experience. So yeah, I love some of the parents who they have just like the technology free weekends with the family, or they try to do some of the meals together. Just having those breaks as like the family together, or just the parent with the kids, or individual time with the kids, and then there's no technology, and there's no, like, you ever go to the restaurant, you see everybody on the phone, and it's to me, that's taking away from the experience of being in the restaurant, being in the ambiance, and people watching the other tables around you. Never underestimate the people watching. And so I think like those tech breaks and just people time, like talking to each other, eye contact. Eye contact with your child and your parent is huge, right? Well, this is the best time to celebrate Mother's Day with nurses who are maternity nurses, because it's also Nurses Week. So I appreciate both of you ladies and Erin and all of the nurse moms for being the mothers, for raising the next generation, because we are all going to be depending on them, and for being the nurses and for being my colleagues who take such good care of the mothers and the babies. And you guys are powerhouses. So I appreciate both of you and all of you for everything you do. And thank you for your time.
Thanks
Been
for
fun.
having us.
Yes.